Welcome back to the Hero Nation show, where business owners and entrepreneurs just like you come to learn tools and tactics to live more epic lives. My name's John Rinehart. This guy right across from me is Wayne Salmons. And today we're going to be talking about happiness, why you are probably never going to be happy again.
Never, ever. This is the struggle.
Sad.
This is the struggle. We were pitched a lie at like 5 years old. 4 years old, whatever it was, right? How many of you thought, man, when I go to kindergarten, that's going to be awesome? Then you get to kindergarten, you go, man, when I get to first grade, that's when the stuff's really good. And then you go, you're in grade school, you go, man, when I get to middle school, that's going to be my happy ever after. When I get to high school, maybe that'll be my happy ever after. Then we do that, then we go, man, maybe college, like high school was cool, it wasn't that great. Maybe when I go to college, that'll be my happy ever after. So you go to college and you go, well, that was okay, but I'm still not super happy. When's my happy ever after? And then we go, you know what? I'll get another person. Right? Then you get married, you get in a relationship, whatever it is, you go, shoot, this isn't my happy ever after, right off the bat. So then you go, you know what? We'll make babies. We'll make babies and then we'll be happy ever after, right? And then all of a sudden you got the job, you got the spouse, you got the baby, you got the whatever, and you go, this is not my happy ever after. You know what? When the kids go off to college, right?
That's my happy
after. You know what? Screw that. That didn't work out. Hey, you know what? Retirement. When I'm 75 years old, shit, happy ever after. Then you get there and you go, shoot, this isn't what I thought it was going to be either. You will never, ever be happy.
I'm looking forward to not waking up.
Yeah, you'll never be happy, right? Because we're sold in this lie that our happy ever after is somewhere down the road, and we don't know how to make this our happy ever after.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
Agree. No, I think we're sold a different lie in some ways. When we're a kid, we're always actually told, we're always asked a question, and I hate this question. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's never who.
Right.
And that's such a powerful deal of like, who do you want to be?
Right.
Because that's such an internal place, and it's not something on the external destination.
Yeah.
Because if you're happy with who you are,
right. Well, most people never figure out what their identity really is, right?
But that's part of the problem, right?
Well, I think that's part of the problem, and I think the other part of the problem is we're sold on this fact that you're a great life, a happy ever after is when you're problem free. When your problems go away, then you're happy, right? I'll make enough money so then I don't have problems, or I'll marry the right person, then I won't have problems, or I'll get the right job, then I won't. And this shit, like, let's burst some dreams right here and now. You're always going to have problems. I don't know anybody that is problem free. Here's the difference, though. The people that I view as really successful are the ones that have chosen the problems that they're encountering, and they look at problems differently than 99% of the population. I think it's kind of weird that we complain about all of our problems sometimes.
I always want your problems, but never my problems until I get a hold of your problems and I want someone else's.
Yeah.
Everybody wishes for someone else's problems.
Yes. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
That guy makes $400,000 a year. You know what? I would love to have his problem. Well, he has a $300,000 tax problem. Do you really want his problem?
Yeah.
There's different problems in there, you know, so.
Well, and I think if you ultimately want to have a happy ever after, one of the things that I've realized is I've got to choose to look at problems differently and love the problems I have. Meaning, I get paid in proportion to the problems I solve. So someone calls me and they go, I'm crashing, I have a big issue, I need to double my business, or I want to work 2 days a week and yet continue to make more money, right? Those are awesome, huge problems, and I get paid a great income to help people solve their problems, right? If they didn't have problems, we wouldn't have a job. Right? Just like when realtors come and complain to me that their buyers did this or the sellers, it's like, yes, you're working with humans. If they didn't have problems, they wouldn't need you. Are you with me? So too many people are like doctors and they're complaining that sick people keep coming to the office. You got to fall in love with problems and realize that problems aren't always an indication that you're doing something wrong. Problems are usually just part of the process. Agree or disagree?
I do agree, because I don't know, like I love problems. I've always loved being a problem solver. I've never considered myself any one thing other than I solve really awesome problems.
Right.
And I help people. That's my identity is centered in this square. I solve problems. Right. There was a guy that was talking about being a videographer back in the day, and he was just he goes, I'm a videographer, and people would pay me whatever it was, like $10,000 to go do a video or something like that. And he goes, and then one day he goes, I was at a pharmaceutical company and they were having a problem. I said, what's the problem? And they told me the problem, and I was like, oh, here, I can solve that problem. I solved that problem for him. And gave them a solution for it. It solved a $2 million problem for them. They sent me a $100,000 check.
Yeah. No, I think it's so true. I think just so many people don't see themselves that way. And what they see is, when do I get to be problem free? When do I not have to have stress? When do I not? And it's so much this has to do with
managing stress. It's not about getting rid of it.
Exactly. It's about knowing them, someone that can get through. The whole reason that we wrote the book was so that people knew how to get back up. People knew how to recover, because stuff's going to happen, right? So I think you become someone that goes, I can deal with problems. I can recover from tough times. It doesn't mean it's always easy. We're not talking rainbows and butterflies. There's some tough days. But choosing, remember, I love a quote I saw a couple days ago that said, remember a time when you wanted what you have now. Remember that time when all you wanted was to get where you are now, and how weird it is that we're so ungrateful. So I think there's this balance between people don't want to be complacent, so they strive. And there's this balance between not being complacent, but not always wanting bigger and better. And I think there's a balance of I love today, and I'm thrilled about tomorrow, but I love today. And choosing that for you and I right now, this is our happy ever after. My happy ever after is right now, and in 3 hours I'll be home playing with my kids on the floor playing Lego, and that is my happy ever after. This is my happy ever after. And when you have that mindset,
I think people have that. I think the other thing that the danger is, right, with having a happily ever after, is that when you finally think that you've arrived, and we've all done it, right?
Right.
Where we get to a place and we're like, you know what? I have officially arrived.
Yes. I remember if I ever make $100,000 a year, dear Lord, the iron will just raise that, everything will be better.
Yeah. And then I made $100,000.
Yes.
It's you get there, but here's the problem. A lot of people get to their happily ever after, right? And they kick off their shoes. They kick off their running shoes and they sit back and they relax. And the moment that they relax, everything goes wrong.
Yes.
Because what they didn't realize was they were outrunning a storm.
Right.
But when they kicked off the running shoes and they decided to go into flip-flops, the next thing they know, the storm hit. They can't outrun the storm anymore.
Well, people stop taking care of things. That would be your car's running great, so you stop doing the annual maintenance. Or your relationship's going great, so you stop date night. Or you had a bunch of money in the bank, so you stopped doing your P&L. Right? There's some things you got to be consistent. I don't think God created us to achieve something and then rest. I think that this whole thing is set up for us to solve problems, and what's interesting is that's what actually brings joy. If you know people that I want to find happiness, and I think for you, think about the times when you're the happiest in your life, and so many of those times were when you overcame a problem, or when you encountered something you didn't think you were going to be able to deal with, and then you did, or you went through this shitstorm and figured out how to recover, That's what So what's funny is problems are actually the gateway drug to happiness.
Yeah, because something's you're fulfilling something, right?
Yes.
I think that's one of those things of can you imagine a person in this world who had everything given to them, had to do nothing in their life, never had any hardship, never anything? I just imagine this white, pale, anemic person that you just kind of push over and they would just fall.
Yeah.
Right? It is, strength training, muscle training is when you tear down and build back up.
Yes.
That's That's what creates strength, is tear down, and then you're hardening and you're toughening your muscles.
Yeah.
It's the same thing
And
here.
we're not talking, hairy-fairy stuff. Like, there's tough times where days suck, and that's tough. But this is about you having the perspective of what tough really is, and where you're ultimately going. And kind of like, I think it was Jim Rohn that used to say, you would hate to go to a symphony if it was all happy little high notes. If the entire symphony was 3 hours of happy little high notes, you would lose your freaking mind. Right? What you want is the highs and the lows and the cymbals and the drums and right? It's all of that makes it such a beautiful life. And I think that's what makes our lives beautiful, is when you have the highs and the lows and you make it through, and you're proud of the person that you became through those struggles. You weren't defined by the struggles, you were defined by who you became and how you reacted to the struggles.
Yeah, it's not where you start, it's where you end.
Amen. Our happy ever afters right now. Right now.
So the questions I have for you guys are, what is your happily ever after? What is going to be, what's going to take you to the next level? What's going to help you? Guys, we have great articles. We have great stuff, great resources for you. Go to theheronation.com. Take a look at it. And until next time, we will see you then. Be your own hero.